So we're going to start with hindrances and go to helps.
Well, we're starting with hindrances.
Let's start with hindrances in the larger UU system. What about the system do you experience as a hindrance to growth? We're looking at UU as a national movement, institution, set of resources, absence of resources, set of leaders, absence of leaders, you know. What hinders growth in the larger setting?
I wish our district staff functioned differently. I wish we paid them more money. I wish they were the most adept, respected, some of the most adept, respected lay and professional ordained leaders that we had. And that because there was remuneration and respect that went with them, we were getting our very best people in those positions, because I think they are sent around to foster growth, among other things. Growth and health seem to be the things that they're meant to work on. And I don't think we've always got the best people.
It's my sense, following up on what Liz says, that often the district staff spends more of their time helping congregations that are in conflict and sometimes perpetual conflict, and less with those, you know, further pushing those who are doing well.
I just do not think we have programming for children or youth that has anywhere close to the depth of spirit that we've talked about here as being necessary for the adults. And I think if it's necessary for the adults, it's just as necessary for the kids. And it's just as necessary for the adults to feel like it's worthwhile bringing their kids to church rather than putting them in soccer or whatever else they're going to do on Sunday mornings.
Or make the kids want to go to church
Right.
as much as they'd like to go to soccer.
Right. And I'll know something has changed when in every Sunday school teacher gets the quality of materials and the depth of preparation that our sex educator get.
Yeah.
We've put our life into sex education, and our kids know everything they ever wanted to know about sex by the time they graduated, and a bunch of stuff they probably didn't. And they're lucky if anybody's ever suggested that they might have a life of prayer or meditation or anything.
Well, this gathering is an example. We could do a better job of learning from what is successful in the field. It's the classic disconnect between field headquarters thing that exists in most organizations.
So what might that look like, Peter?
Testing stuff. I mean, it can be as informal as bouncing stuff off of the right people, having the right kind of advisory groups involved, bringing people in at the actually early planning stages on initiatives, as opposed to what do you think when it's pretty well planned.
Well, and related for me is using congregations as teaching centers rather than district staff. In certain circumstances, you know, using a model congregation to teach something rather than having the district staff teach it.
And it's using the resources that you have.
Exactly, supporting where there's expertise, supporting that location and doing training rather than relying on district staff to do it.
Does that happen anywhere now?
You and me, John. John's congregation has had great success with multiracial stuff, and we've had terrific success with welcoming congregation, and they need to get over a hump to engage in welcoming congregation, and we need to get over a hump and engage in multiracial stuff. We thought, okay, let's do that. So we had 2 Saturday programs. One we hosted Davies. They came over and they heard us talk in panels and then informally over the course of a few hours about what it was like to do welcoming congregation and what had gone well and badly and unexpectedly, and how it changed people and how it changed the church. And then we just last Saturday went to Davies and heard them tell their story about how they've done the multiracial work.
We did the same thing in our club. We took a different, there were 6 congregations, and we did 6 things, and we called it Super Saturday. We did it the first Saturday in October, and we did the same thing. Everybody had their thing, everybody, and so if you wanted to do membership, you went here. If you wanted to do, totally blanking on what it was we did, but there were 6 of those. And
6 churches?
There were 6 churches involved. There's 6, and we cover 120 miles. So it wasn't like, you know, you just fell out of bed and went to the church next door. You had to travel to do it, but that's what it's like where I live.
One of the things that's been really successful at the district level is at least in our district, is the Chalice Lighter program,
Yes.
which is a program that at the district level funds growth initiatives. And is usually, designed to fund success, to sort of put money after success. If there is ever again denominational money, or if we can create, and I think we should create denominational money for growth, that it should be meted out in a similar kind of way. In a chalice letter kind of way, which is to say, smaller grants invested at key times to congregations that have a demonstrated track record of growth, where you can get, bang for your buck.
Boy, that would flat encourage growth in my congregation. I mean, we would flat rise to the occasion if we thought it meant that we were going to get money at the end.
Yeah.
We would work very hard.
And I want to pick up on that too, and say that I totally agree. I think that a lot of times money goes where weakness is instead of strength. And why shouldn't we put money into what looks like a good bet?
And we've never qualified for any kind of denominational aid because we're never fair share.
Right.
And they're trying so hard. And I think it's fair to say, if you're not fair share, you can't get the money. But I also think to be left completely without resources there's a lot of congregations that I know have been in that situation at times. And I don't think it's ridiculous to say, all right, I'd like the UUA to come up with a plan for a set of recommendations for congregations who are growing quickly and can't do everything at the same time, even though they're trying hard to be honorable.
I'm reminded in this conversation that we're not through with the money issue. At one part of this, we asked for money we asked for a way to access financial support for those congregations that are doing well, that they might be better, that they might take a success and replicate it in some manner. And then we let it rest for a moment, and then we came back and we're talking about asking for financial resources available for congregations who are in a bind, who can't rise. I mean, surely there's a way for us to give them a waiver, which is our language in my congregation for folks who are in a bad place. And my guess is if we just hung around for a while, we would talk for a financial way to support congregations who are in the middle, who might just need a little oomph. I mean, the truth is that we're always looking for more ways to support ourselves financially, and it is so real in our congregational life. I mean, it's just so real. So,
Are we on the good stuff now? Is that what that list is?
I like the conferences. I know for us, for the large church conferences that the UA has held in recent years have been very, very helpful for us.
I have a short-term perspective in all of this, but it seems to me that there are lots of new ways of helping people learn how to do church. The University and some of the other training stuff that's going on that's adapting to current needs. Seems like there's lots of new stuff in it. Seems great.
Yeah, because lay leaders need to understand what church is about. And a lot of our lay leaders, were coming unchurched or, and they don't know how to do church. And I think that we really need them to be partners with us. And I really think that was tremendously valuable.
And helping to sponsor congregation presidents.
Yeah. Really, that was really important.
Well, I think the whole covenant group program really kind of blossomed, mushroomed out of, from my remembrance, one of the GAs in which it was a major focus, and the whole small group ministry in the churches, it was really jump-started and pushed very aggressively denominationally, district, and it just took off. I don't think it would have happened nearly as quickly without real strong support from the denomination.
I particularly appreciate the public persona of the UUA. It shows up in the national news and shows. I mean, I've got lay folk who quote them all the time. And it's real funny. That's how they talk about it too. But that's new. That sort of public persona.
Right, and since we're talking about the whole denomination and not just the UUA, I want to lift up the changes in the UUSC, which have been huge for my congregation. The service committee, and in the last 3 or 4 years, has returned to focusing on helping congregations do social justice rather than
Right.
doing it all themselves,
Yes.
and big change.
I'm happy with their ongoing commitment to anti-racism and to GBLT concerns.